Hey gang, Roden here. Welcome on back to the Cade and the first episode in our latest playthrough. Now, back when I first came up with the idea of building the Retrocade and putting this channel together, there was one franchise and one set of video games that was right at the top of my list of something that I was inevitably going to be able to feature. And now the time has come to finally get into it. As I said for the last couple of weeks, this is one of the most popular franchises in all of video games. It has more than 50 titles in its catalog, but it has never officially been released in North America on a North American console. The only way we were able to get them is if people had ported them over and translated them from Japanese to English, of which there are very rare amounts of those titles that have existed. But this is one of them. We are going to play Super Robot Wars 3. Now, why are we playing Super Robot Wars 3? Why aren't we playing the first one? The reason is because this franchise first started back in 1991 and was released on the Game Boy. The second game was then released in 1991 on the Nintendo Entertainment System, and this version was released on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. And of the first three games, this one graphically has the superior look to it, and also it's the only version of an original series game that was fully translated to English. And when I found out that this version existed, I could not get it on my PC, on my emulator, fast enough. This was one of those series that, for somebody like me who grew up in I was born in the late 70s, grew up in the early 80s, but I discovered anime, and I'm not saying this to thump my own chest, it's just a reality, because I didn't even know at the time. But I discovered anime about 15 years before most of the world caught up with it, and it was purely on a lark. It was because where I lived in New England, every weekday morning before I went to school, they were playing old Japanese anime from the 70s, specifically the giant robot, the Super Robot anime of that time, and also what is now rightfully known as Space Battleship Yamato, but it was ported over to the US and rebranded as Star Blazers. That's all anime. And it was really the second generation of anime that we ever got to see coming out of Japan. And I glommed onto it so hard that over the next 40 plus years, it's been my go-to for pretty much any sort of anime that I want to watch. That's not to say that I don't like modern anime, and that I don't like other types of anime. I've got a huge catalog of anime that I like to watch. But my bread and butter is still anything with giant robots and mechs in it and Gundams in it. Pardon me whilst I turn my fan on. It's still wicked hot here in my side of the world at the moment. But because this franchise, which now spans more than 3 decades, and like I said, 55 titles, is so relatively unknown in the US because of rights and licensing and the fact that cross-generational and cross-franchise games are so difficult to port out of their home country. Most of us here in the US have never had a chance to play it unless you're able to read fluent Japanese and you can play those versions of it, which I am most definitely not. So what we're going to do over how long it takes to finish this game is we're going to play the game. Now, to bear in mind, this is Super Robot Wars is a tactical strategy game. So it is not your typical role-playing game. It is, if the easiest way I can explain it to you is if you are familiar with Final Fantasy Tactics or Warcraft or Spacecraft or Starcraft rather, things of that nature, this game will make perfect sense to you. If not, might not be your cup of tea. I understand that these sorts of games aren't for everybody. And honestly, for me, it's not really in my wheelhouse of stuff that I normally like to play. But because of the characters in it and the fact that it hits me right square in the nostalgia wheelhouse, that's why I like to play them. So, like I said, I've been playing a far more updated version of this. I've been playing a PS2 copy of Super Robot Wars. It's not this exact version of it, but I've been playing it for about the last 2 weeks and just having a ball with it. So, as we go along, I will try to explain to you how this game all kind of shakes out. But the general crux of the story is, this game obviously takes place after the second Super Robot Wars, where a group of mech pilots and assorted people are part of a group called the Divine Crusaders, and they have reformed under the leadership of a family that is, I think, part of the Mobile Suit Gundam series. And what has to happen is that actually the Divine Crusaders are the enemies. The good guys are the Federation. That's our guys here, who have to stop them from trying to take over not just the world, but the solar system. And in the process of doing so, we are also confronted with another threat, which is an alien race that we are not really familiar with, but we have to eventually deal with before the game is over. So as you see, the way the game is laid out, each scenario is like this. So think of it in terms of chess. The map is our chessboard. The pieces are obviously the mechs that are on it. This right here is our base. And it's white base. And let's see if I can remember how to pull it up here. Whoop. So your X button is to pull up moves. Spirit is basically your magic pool. It allows you to do different activities and whatnot that are really helpful in different battles. And then, whoops. So that is white base. So you pull up status, and this gives you everything you need to get to know. And this is good to show you. So as you see, each character will have this, where they will have a certain hit points pool. They'll have a certain energy pool, which, depending on the weapons you have available, it can deplete your energy pool at various degrees. Type of mech that you are. This is obviously a big floating fortress, so it's going to be up in the air. Unit range, how far it can move. Armor, how much damage it can withstand. And response time, how nimble it is and how much it's able to move. Next level will show you how much experience it has to build up in order to move to level 7. So then you can go to the pilot, and the pilot has certain perks as well, and depending on which machine you give them, those perks can change. The thing that you want to pay attention to is this middle column where it says Spirit Power, which is acceleration and guts. Those are essentially your magic spells. So during a battle, you can use one or the other. You can use both, but you have a finite pool of spirit points that you can pull from. That will go up as well throughout a battle. So currently, Bright Noah has 72. And then these are the weapons that this thing has available to it. So you see it's got machine guns, missiles, particle cannon, 20-inch cannon, and whatnot. These can also be upgraded as well through the game. Although this one might not be because it's so old. I know in later versions you can upgrade it along with your actual ships. So now what we've got to do is we have all these guys up here. And we got all these guys up here. Now, this being the first fight, a lot of these things are going to be fairly rudimentary. If I remember it right, these guys are more of snipers, so we got to be careful with them. These guys are classic Super Robot villains, which are just cannon fodder for guys like Mazinger and whatnot. These guys are Zaku's from Gundam. And then, yeah, that's pretty much the crux of what we got. So what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to move our guys in this first turn, and we can move them within range of... So as you see where everything's grayed out, I can move this Gundam pretty much anywhere in this circle. And there's nobody around me to attack, so I'm just going to call it good there. And that's what you have to do. So now you're at a point where you're moving your chess pieces. And this is where you have to start thinking tactically. Because you've got to consider the idea that you're going to have... I've got guys up here who are going to be coming this way. I got guys over here who are going to be coming this way. And I got guys down here who are going to be coming this way. So what I need to do is I need to kind of build a perimeter here. And I need to mix it up. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Gundams. I've got 5 Gundams here. And these ones right here are all lower tier ones. Whereas this is the actual bona fide Gundam, because it's piloted by Amuro Ray. And then I will take good old Messenger and I will move him up this way. And I will take Getarobo, who's one of my absolute favorite mechs of all time. And this right here, if I remember right, this is Diana, I want to say? Aphrodite A. So she is from Messenger. She's a super robot. But she is going to be helpful because she can sit back and serve as both offense and repairs. So if we get a Gundam that is severely damaged in the course of this fight, or any mech that's damaged in the course of this fight, I can move her up towards that mech and have her repair them to keep them in the fight. Which early on is very, very helpful. Now, I will warn you that this game can run kind of slow. So those Zakus are getting out of here. And we have Char Aznavour, which if you know your Gundam history, he is Amuro Ray's bona fide nemesis. So, okay, now we have 2 mechs here. I should be able to attack. Nope. So now I can attack. So now with Amuro, I've got his Vulcan, Beam Saber, Hyper Hammer. I can't use the Beam Rifle, and I can't use the Hyper Bazooka because I'm out of range. So then this will come up. And this shows you what the probabilities are for being able to hit your opponent and your opponent to hit you. And as you see, the Hyper Hammer did quite a lot of damage. And Amuro took a little bit of a hit, but not too bad. So now I can attack from here. He won't be able to hit me, but I've got a 77% chance of hitting him. And I got it. And this is stuff that you have to consider in this game, is if you've got guys who can hit at a distance, you don't want them up front bearing the brunt of whatever's coming at them. You want them sitting farther back so they can capitalize on their weaponry. I will have Messenger attack. And I'm guaranteed to hit because it's at 100%. And with a photon beam, I can put him down. Now, the thing about the super robots as opposed to the Gundams, the super robots are naturally much tougher because they're super robots. They're designed to be that way. But they're harder to move. They don't always hit that well. And they do have limitations that the Gundams don't have, because the Gundams, being smaller, can tend to be more agile. Now, the farther we will go in this game, the more we'll be able to mix and match the mechs that we deploy on each mission. Alright, so the messenger beasties are coming at me, which is perfect, because now I can just come up and wail on these guys. And messenger is obviously designed to take these things down. I can get Getter involved in here. Now, I want to hold off on using my big weapons, only because at the moment, I don't want to deplete all my energy reserves. And I forgot that in this first round, this is the proto-Getter. So this is actually not the actual Getter that I can use throughout most of this game. But that's where having Amuro comes in handy, because now he can sit here and pick these guys off. Although that hurt. So now what I want to do is I want to have her come over and have her repair Amuro. See, and I can heal a third of my hit points, but that's not going to help me. See what I can do here. So the beam saber didn't do much damage to it. And he's going to hit me. Oof. All right. So I get to fire back. Now, luckily, these things can only attack one at a time. Of course, only I can attack one at a time. It looks like we're going to evade. And we did. In later versions of the game, you have a little bit more control over each of your mechs. And it is possible there are times where you are so sure that you're not going to get hit or you're going to nail a particular opponent and you totally whiff on it. Which is really annoying, I gotta say. So I'll have the white base attack. Then I'll have Ryu go in and polish them off. And you do want to make sure that a lot of your smaller units are able to get in and do attacks and deal damage to opponents. Alright, I think I'll use the rocket punch on this guy. And having Messenger and Getter here are great because they can soften these guys up. And not take a bunch of damage. And I should have used this on that other one. See, that's one where I should... It's easy to get sidetracked and forget who's where and who's dealing with what. But, like, I can click on him with the square button. Same with him. So he can't hit me, but I've got about a 90% chance of hitting him. And I did, so that's good. And I want to move him back. Now, one thing you can do is you can move him back to the ship. And while he's there, he can't be killed. And he can heal up. Ooh. Now, if your mechs, basically, if they die, if they get destroyed, then once the fight is over, however much it costs to rebuild them, like so, will be taken out of the full amount of credits you gain for winning the fight. So we lose Sayla, which I'm not happy about. But that will happen in this game. And the Hyper Bazooka immediately took that one out, which is fine. I'm good with that. Hopefully the beam rifle will take him out, and it did. Now these Zaku's are going to start moving. Meanwhile, this guy's going to kind of try and take out Ryu, but he moved. Alright, repair him really quick. Alright, I'll use the photon beam, because the breast fire, the only problem with that is because it uses so much power. Nope, don't end it yet. Alright, I'll use the getter beam on him because it doesn't take up quite as much juice. This will put him away easy. Alright, and I want him moved over here. See him left? No. Move him over here. Now, will the particle cannon hit? That's the question. Yeah, 65. Nope. Oh, and now he's going after Aphrodite. But she got the rocket instead. Now these other Zaku are coming. Alright, so we hit him. Hopefully he can withstand this attack. Oof, it's close. Alright, see if we can hit him with that. Yep, he's gone. Have Amuro take out the second one, because it's guaranteed he's going to hit him. Photon beam this guy. And I'll put him down. So now that we have 3 more Zaku coming in, one of them is Char. So it stands to reason that I'm going to want Amuro in a position where he can do some form of damage as he comes down. And because Char is a main character, he's going to be able to do a lot more damage. Ooh! Like so. And he's going to be a lot more evasive. I doubt I'm going to hit him with this. Oh, I did! Wow. I didn't anticipate that happening. Alright, so I can move him +5, next attack is critical, boost morale. I can heal all my HP, or I can heal a third of it. I think. I don't think any of those are going to help me, actually. So I will talk to him. What do I have? I can heal. Take this Zaku out. now I can use this on him. As it's Messenger's most powerful weapon, so it will totally annihilate that Zaku. What I will do is I will repair this guy and check and see how my other one is doing. Yeah, and I won't be able to hit him at this point. But he can't hit me. Alright, so I might as well end it here because I know Char is going to attack. Oh, we got company. Alright, so we've got more mechs coming from this way. And this happens a lot. Where you think you've got everything wrapped up, and then reinforcements show up. And you're going, wait a minute. So we use the hyper hammer. Ooh, and he got me with the beam saber. I'm so used to Amuro being naturally agile that almost nobody can hit him. Repair him really quick, because I know I'm going to need him. I can use the particle cannon, but I won't be able to hit him from there. Would not be able to hit the barn side of a broad. As my uncle used to like to say. Alright, get out of the way of that one. And he's put down. Oh, you can go for taking Amuro out. Amuro will lay waste to you. Alright, so that's definitely what I'll have any of the smaller guys take out. Now, something else about this game is that as battles go on and your pilots take damage, they also have latent skills that allow them to either become more evasive, deal more damage, things of that nature. Now, when they're dealing with a 100% hit, there's nothing they can do about it. Alright, so if I do this right, I can have these two guys take out these two mechs. I can have Amuro move up. And hopefully this will hit. 60%, not good. But if it hits, it's a critical. And it whiffed. Ah! Alright. Well, if I couldn't hit you with a bazooka, I'll have Messenger take you out with his best weapon. Bye-bye. All right, put you down. So all I gotta do is have him hit, and this will be that. So he's gone. Flank him. Do the same thing. Hopefully this connects. Yep. Goodbye. Use the beam rifle. Toast. So they were protecting a poisonous gas canister. The container definitely held G3 poison gas. Playing some indiscriminate terrorism directed at a colony. Judging from the remnant or the activities of the remnants, I don't think that's their strategy. So they're heading for Side 5, which is one of these space colonies that's in orbit around Earth. So we take Route A that's shortest, allows plenty of extra time. Possibility of meeting up with the main battle forces. Or we can go Route B, which would flank them. We'd have an advantage in the battle. But we may be found by one of their other units if we take this detour. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's a question of, in situations like this, you will inevitably have reinforcements show up. So do you want to take Route A or Route B? I'm going to try and do the more strategic route and go Route B. Especially because all my guys are weak at the moment. So as you see here, we have one GM we have to repair, and GM's a name for a mobile suit. And now we can save the game, and then we can do power up. We have pilots who we can reassign. By being able to power up the mechs, we can build up their reaction time, their armor, their energy reserves, and their hit pool. Each one costs a different amount. So right now we've got 5,300 credits. To try and up that would be 5,000, so I don't want to do it. And you have to be smart about this as well. You have to consider everything that is currently available to you in your fleet. So right now I've got Messenger, I've got Aphrodite, and I've got the Proto Geta 1, 2, and 3. It's the same mech, but it can be configured 3 different ways. We're eventually going to get the full-powered Geta 1. So there's no reason to upgrade this particular mech. All we got to do is just be able to hold out long enough for us to get our hands on the primary Get a Robo, and then we won't use this anymore and we'll be fine. The general suits, we can up these a little bit, but I mean, really, at this point, these guys are the red shirts. So what we will do is between this episode and the next episode is we'll figure out how we want to do that, because we should use this a little bit. And then in doing so, we can go into the next fight with a little bit of an advantage over our opponents. But that, in a sense, is the game. As this series progressed further, they had a lot more bells and whistles to it. But for right now, this is where I wanted to start with for this franchise and for this series. And the average mission takes about 30 minutes to do. So looks like we can get one done per episode. And because this one was our introductory episode, it ran a little bit longer. But that, guys, is Super Robot Wars 3, Episode 1 for the Super Nintendo from 1991. I'm really looking forward to getting into this. Again, like I said at the outset, this isn't a series for everybody, but it is one of those that I dearly wish had been brought over to the US. I wish they'd found a way to do it and have them be translated and have it so people like me who grew up with these anime and loving these characters and wanting to have games where we have the ability to take them and use them in scenarios like this could actually do so. So what we will do going forward is we will try and see how far we can get in this game every Monday and Wednesday. We will still have Sports Saturday and Sucker Punch Sunday coming up this weekend, where we play a classic sports and fighting or fighting platform-based game from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th generation. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Threads or on Retrocade to help spread the word about us so we can continue to build our subscription base and make this channel bigger and better. As always, my name is Ronan, and it's been great to spend this episode with you. Be safe, be well, happy gaming, stay cool out there, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.